Hi everyone. As most of you will now know, having been watching me for most of the day, that I am Nikki Christmas, the founder and editor of Practically Perfect PA. Now, if we've got this far into the program, it looks like everything has gone to plan for you. So, in this session, I'm going to talk about business acumen, what it is, why it's important for PAs, and what you can do to develop your business acumen on a shoestring budget. But before we delve into more detail, let's first have a look at what I specifically mean by business acumen. For me, this is the best description. In practice, people with business acumen are thought of as having business sense or business smarts. They are able to obtain essential information about a situation, focus on the key objectives, recognise the relevant options available for a solution, select an appropriate course of action, and set in motion an implementation plan to get the job done. So that sounds easy to achieve, right? No, I didn't think so either. But if you read it back, many PAs are really business savvy. We are our organisation's information managers. We're able to take information and get it out to the right people in the business. We often make decisions based on the knowledge that we have of our executives' expectations, and you can't deny we get the job done. So do take heart. You may not think you have the business acumen that you need, but you do have it. You just need to develop it a little bit more. So let's have a look at some of the resources that are available to you that can help you develop your business acumen. I've split the resources up into a few different areas, and firstly we're going to look at training. So I have a question for you. Does your manager support your training needs? If so, well done, virtual high five to you. This makes things much easier. If they don't, you may need to push a little harder for these opportunities, but you have to be proactive and you have to stand up for yourself and for your case. So, when you next sit down with your executive to discuss your training needs, ask that you attend training courses on the areas that you could improve. So this, for example, could be business finance or process management or even project management. If your manager is supportive, then build business acumen improvement into your overall development plan. Every year you could pick an area that you want to improve and have this as an objective to work towards. Now, if you're on a shoestring budget, here is a really good tip on how to increase your business acumen within your organisation. Does your organisation have a graduate programme? Now, if it does, then ask to attend their initial training session on the industry. I did this when I first started working in insurance. There was so much jargon and codes of conduct, especially when working with Lloyd's of London. So I went to my executive, who was supportive of my training needs, and I asked him if I could attend an Introduction to Insurance course, which was an in-house course, but it was specifically for new graduates coming into the business. He was really supportive. He said, sure, go ahead, ask HR to get on it. So I went along. I was probably the only one there who was, I don't know, older than sort of 28, 29. Everyone was really young. I was definitely the only EA on the course, but I learned so much that was really helpful for my role and for my business acumen. And crucially, me attending this course didn't cost my company a penny. So if you do have a graduate program, then do go along to see what training courses are provided for them and see if you can get yourself on any of those courses. Now, think about your in-house training courses in general. If you do have any that you can attend, that could either be physically or on the intranet. Again, I would make sure that you attend every free in-house training course that you can get yourself on, both for your career development and anything relating to the business. Just going back to the graduate schemes, one way that graduates learn about the business is through shadowing other members of staff or working in different departments. It's a really super quick way that they can get up to speed on everything that's happening within the business. Now, perhaps you could shadow another PA in your organisation for, say, an hour once a week, so that you know what they do and what goes on in the business. Don't just limit yourself to PAs. Potentially you could shadow other colleagues or even other executives. It just gives you a little bit more understanding of what's happening in the business, and gives you a little bit more understanding of the overall bigger picture of what your business is trying to achieve. Now, my next point is around the area of networking. Networking is basically the foundation to good business acumen. Networking for assistants is essential for so many reasons, but in terms of business acumen, it will really greatly improve your knowledge. So, I would definitely recommend that you attend business training courses, networking courses. And the reason being is that when you do go to a networking course or networking event, you find out about stuff. It really is that simple. So do go to networking events, which are quite often free or there's a small fee. Meet with other PAs, attend the training sessions that go along with networking events, particularly in exhibitions. There's always a large exhibition, and then there's a small kind of training area that goes on, and this tends to be free. When you do go to exhibitions, you also get to meet suppliers, which again is really helpful for your overall business acumen. You can find out what they do and how they might be able to help your business. Go to team drinks, go to departmental drinks, go to your organisation networking events, their summer party, their Christmas party, and while you're there, talk to people. One of the cheapest ways to find out about the organisation is to talk to the people that work within it and ask what they do. Now, as an assistant, and I've definitely found this to be true, you're automatically giving a level of trust that other people within the organisation are not. So you should absolutely take advantage of that. When you meet people, always ask them, what's happening with you, what's going on, what are you up to? People want to get on well with PAs. They know that PAs are worth knowing and have a lot of information. So you can absolutely use this to your advantage to build your own knowledge of the company and what's going on. You should always be curious. You should always be asking questions and finding out what's been happening within the organisation. Now, if you don't already, it's well worth setting up an internal network for all of the assistants within your organisation. And as Simone touched on this earlier, if you do have an internal network, you must share all of the business knowledge that you have. Obviously, not confidential information that you hold, but anything that is going to help you develop your business acumen that you could then share with other executives. Executive assistants. They will then become much more interested in sharing the knowledge that they have, and in turn that will build your bigger and overall business acumen. Again, this doesn't cost your company a penny. Now, my next suggestion also doesn't cost any money, and it's this, and it's a big one. Read everything. And by everything, I mean everything. Read your executives' emails, both their inbox and their sent items. Read their reports, read their memos, their files, their past emails. Read everything. Now, does your manager subscribe to business magazines? If they do, this is great because you open their post and you can read the magazine before giving it to them. What you could also do is, as you're reading the magazine, if there are any articles that are relevant or interesting to your executive, as a nice kind of service for them, you could just put a little post-it note in there to tell them that this is worth reading. They'll probably be really impressed with that. They probably won't be offended if you do read their magazine, so don't worry about that. Now, not only does this help your business knowledge, it also gives you something to talk about with your boss if this is an area that potentially you might struggle with. If you read their business magazines, you might find some common ground that you guys can use for small talk, or just to help you build some rapport with them. Reading doesn't just stop there though. Make sure you read everything that's put up on your internal communication systems. So that's your intranet, all of the collaborative tools and the project management tools that you use. That could be Slack or Trello or anything like that. Any briefing documents that come across your desk, again, always worth reading. Now for me, I always found the intranet to be this weird and wonderful place to get lots of information about the organisation. The organisations that I used to work in, it didn't seem like anybody cleaned the intranet. So I found documents on there that were from years ago, but really helped me develop my understanding of where the business had been and also where it was going. Now, I also highly recommend that you read lots of career and personal development books. I absolutely love getting lost in a good book. And actually, no matter how busy I am in my life or my work, I always find time to read fiction, and to be honest, crappy fiction at that. So now I've set myself a little objective, which is for every 2 fiction books, I have to then read a non-fiction book that will develop me professionally or personally. Now, I know buying books can be quite an expensive business, but for me, I really think it's worth the investment. You can read some books online for free using websites like readanybooks.com, or, and here's a novel thought, you could join a library. I know, remember them? Another option is you can start a book club at work, where you share business books with each other. I've worked in a few organisations that have done that, and it's been a really great way to share knowledge and also to network. Now, there are lots and lots of brilliant business websites and blogs. Hello, Practically Perfect PA, woo! That can really help you develop your business acumen. So you should sign up to websites and blogs about your industry, about the PA profession, career development, and actually business in general. Now, there are tons and tons of websites that can offer fantastic advice. And although I do have a few favourites, I can't obviously name them all here. But what I would say is use an app like Feedly, which pulls all of the website feeds into one place so that you can read blogs and updates on your phone or your computer or your tablet. As I said, this is well worth using just to keep all of that information organised, and I use an app called Feedly. So when it comes to reading stuff, do prioritise what you read. Business related stuff and boss related stuff has to come first. Then create some time to read everything else. Now, as I said, I love a good book and I always find time for it. So I do have that routine of reading one non-fiction to every, let's face it, trashy fiction or awful Z-list celebrity autobiography that I love, but that don't really feed the brain. My next point straddles reading everything and listening to everything. Do you take minutes at meetings? Again, this is another really fantastic way to increase your business acumen. In a previous role, I managed 12 committees, all of which had special interest areas in accountancy. I attended all of the committee meetings and I took all of the minutes. During the meetings, I would really listen to what everyone was saying and I would take notes on everything. And if I didn't understand anything, I would go away after the meeting and research it to find out what they meant. During the refreshment breaks or over lunch, I would also talk to the members, again, ask them what they'd been up to, what was happening with their jobs and the association that we work for. I read all of the supporting documents and all of their regular newsletters as well. Now, I would say by the end of the 4 years that I worked there, I knew as much as I think you could know about accountancy. I once attended a networking event for one of the committees and I was talking to a new member, I would say for about an hour, and I still don't think he realised that I wasn't actually an accountant. I wasn't, thank God. So while you're reading everything, I absolutely recommend that you listen to everything as well. Do you attend meetings with your managers? If you don't, then you absolutely should do. It's so vital for PAs to be in meetings with their managers. This task will bring you into contact with the company's decision makers, and you'll be privy to their conversations and how they come to make decisions. When you are in those meetings, if you're there to take notes or take the minutes, that's fine, but also make sure you listen to these people. If you know why decisions are made in the company, then you can start to make choices about your everyday work, following the same strategy as the executive team. Now, this will massively increase your knowledge and it will also keep you focused on improving your business acumen because you'll realise how helpful it is. Also, listen to what's just generally going on around you, what your colleagues are talking about, say over lunch or during post-work drinks. Now, you don't need to divulge any of this information to anyone, but being business savvy isn't just about the nuts and the bolts of the business. It's also about the mood and the feel of the office. People make businesses, so make sure you also have a good understanding of what is happening with your colleagues and the culture of the organisation. Another area of listening is podcasts and webinars, Hello Virtual Summit, and other videos that are really great place to learn about business. You could have these playing in the background with your earphones in while potentially you're doing less challenging tasks, such as expenses or board packs or photocopying. Another area which is really helpful for developing your business acumen is this whole world of social media. All of the social media platforms offer something different, and they all can help increase your business acumen. For me, I would personally start with LinkedIn. So I would suggest that if you haven't already, you sign up to a few groups. You should also sign up to the groups that your executive is also a member of. On LinkedIn, you can follow business leaders and thought leaders in your industry and in the PA profession as well. You might be surprised, but Facebook and Twitter have a lot of great business information that you can also follow. I mean, if you think about it, how much time do you spend on Facebook and Twitter? I think we're all guilty of spending way too much time looking at our holiday pictures, our friends' new baby pictures, our ex-boyfriend or girlfriend's pictures, what they've been up to. We spend a lot of time on social media. It might well just be worth dedicating a little bit of that time to improving your business acumen. As I said, social media is a free resource, and it's a really wonderful place to find out loads and loads of business information and just get your career development a little bit forward. So I would absolutely recommend that if you haven't, then you do spend some time investigating what is available for you on social media. Now, last but not least, I would say that to increase your business acumen, you have to push your business boundaries. You have to put yourself out there and you have to be curious and ask questions. If you don't know the answer to something, you need to go and find out what that answer is. Research and investigate things. Another way of improving your business acumen is to be part of cross-departmental projects. Now, one tip for me that's always worked is to offer to organise events. It's something that you're probably really good at anyway, and you'll find out a lot of stuff when you organise an event for a business. You'll end up touching lots of different areas within the business. You'll meet lots of different colleagues that you may not necessarily have met before. And if you sit on the registration desk during the course of the event, again, you'll meet different people. You can introduce yourself, and at a later date, you'll have something to talk to them about. So what I would say is always be visible at all times, always be helpful, and always put yourself out there. Now let's take it back, because this has to be implemented practically. So when it comes to your review, this is the most important part. You can demonstrate to your manager that not only do you understand the company's strategy, but you're also implementing it into your own work by thinking strategically. This depth of knowledge will be really impressive, because they might not know that you're thinking about the bigger picture, or that every decision you make is based on the level of business acumen that you have. Understanding the bigger picture, where your boss fits into it, and then in turn how you can help support their goals, is a fundamental requirement of an executive assistant. Developing your business acumen will give you a really fantastic foundation, and it will allow you to do so much more with your role. Now, I always like to finish my training by offering some advice on how you can put all of this information into practice. So for business acumen, here's my tip. Each month, pick a topic that you would like to learn more about or brush up on. During that month, find some time, hopefully an hour or two a day, over lunch, during your commute, or if you can, take some personal development time during your working hours. Dedicate that time to developing your business acumen. Remember, if you read and listen to everything that is happening around you, you'll be constantly improving your business acumen without even knowing it. So it's really important to take some time to dedicate to it. Very last point, make this part of your overall objectives for the year. If this is part of your career development plan, then you'll be allowed to actually dedicate time within your working hours to this. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that I've given you some resources that you can use to develop your business acumen. I'm now going to hand you back over to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit. Thank you for listening.